Okay, welcome back. I ran into an issue with my with the motorcycle. It was not charging at all, and so it was. I was getting probably, when I was revving it up like crazy, I was barely clicking 13 volts, which is crazy, not enough. So I went through and started diagnosing everything, and in essence, there are three different components of the electrical system. There's the diode board, there's the stator, and then there's the rotor. I'm going to shoot a separate video about the rotor. It's actually on the front of the it's on the front of the crankshaft, really. So I'm going to start off with the diode board. This is the first device I was going through to try to see what was going on, and it actually kept testing out fine except for one. This is a new one, obviously, but so I went digging around the internet trying to find some way to figure out how to test it. So I came across this sheet, actually two different instructions. So, and I'm going to go through both because they're both pretty, but it gives you instructions to basically create your own little test light. And that's really what it's doing. It's creating your own little test light. And basically, it's giving you locations that you need to basically connect to see if you're getting amperage or if you're getting resistance. So it has a nice chart here. So we are actually going to go through and start testing it. So there are two diodes. This one has 11 diodes, but I'm just going to kind of go through the testing points. And so the battery and the starter connect right here. Here are the three areas where the three-phase goes in. The regulator goes here. This gets connected to the blue wire on the front of the alternator. This is positive, and this is the negative side. So here is my little test light that I created. So it is just a 9-volt battery, and I wired in a little test light. So if I connect this side, you can see the test light pops on. So because this is the positive side, you can see it does not connect on this side. It does not turn on. So there's infinite resistance on this side. This makes a circuit. So in going through this sheet, and let me just turn this sheet over a little bit. In going through the sheet, it is, so with the positive lead connected to B+, so here is the positive lead. When I connect to ground, it should provide infinite resistance. So this side is ground, I'm getting infinite resistance. Connecting to D+, I'm getting infinite resistance. Connecting to U, V, and W, I'm sorry, this is D+. D+ is connecting the regulator. I'm getting infinite resistance. U, V, and W are the three phases. Infinite, infinite, infinite. And when I go to Y, this is the Y terminal, I'm getting infinite resistance. So it is working. The next is when I connect to ground, I'm then going to touch those. So I'm going to connect this side to ground. So when the positive is connected to ground, so my positive is connected to ground right here. So when I touch on ground to B+, the light comes on, which according to the chart, I should be getting it. When I touch it to D+, it comes on. When I touch it to U, V, and W, U, V, and W, it comes on. When I touch it to Y, it comes on. So the ground side is working. Now I'm going to connect to D+. So D+. And so D+ is connected to positive. When I touch B+, it should be infinite resistance. And really, when I'm touching everything else, it should be infinite resistance, which is what I'm getting, infinite resistance. Now, if I move it to U, I'm going to move it to U, and that's the positive side connecting to U. So when the positive side is connected to U, if I touch the B+, the light comes on. If I touch the ground, it's infinite resistance. If I touch it to D+, I get connection, which is good. When I touch it to V, W, and Y, V, W, and Y, it does not come on. So that is good. Next, I'm going to go to V, and when I'm touching V to B+, light comes on. When I'm touching it to ground, I get infinite resistance. It does not come on. When I'm touching it to D+, it comes on. When I touch it to U and W, U and W, it does not come on. When I touch it to Y, it does not come on. So I've got infinite resistance there. Now I'm going to move it to the last one. I'm going to move it to W. So I've got it on W, and when I touch it to B+, I've got amperage, so light comes on. When I touch it to ground, it does not come on. When I touch it to D+, it comes on. When I touch it to U and W, it does not come on, which is fine. When I touch it to Y, it does not come on. Now we're going to connect the Y circuit. So when Y is positive, it is, when I touch it to B+, when I touch it to B+, I'm supposed to be getting, the light should come on, but the light is not coming on. And this is where the problem was. It is, I have a short in one of the diodes. And to give you perspective, the light's not coming on. When I put it on the new one, you can see the light comes on. So I know that board is good as brand new. So let me put it here. And the light does not come on. So I've got a bad diode on this Y circuit. So it is, hence the board is bad. I know you can replace the diodes. I am not suited to change the diodes, but this board is bad. So that's why I got the replacement board, to change it out. But you saw me go through and I connected the positive to all of the top ones here. You need to do it in reverse as well. So you need to connect the positives here, and if the positive is Y here, then on B+, it should be infinite resistance, and that's what it is. On this one, I just get infinite resistance both ways on this. And so that is why the board is bad. So the diode board is kind of interesting. So I know this board is bad. This board is good. I've already checked it out. So it is, it's so funny because power goes one way. It goes one way that way. When I flip the leads, power does not come on. I flip the leads, it comes back on. So it's like a one-way valve. And obviously it's designed so that electricity does not backfeed into the battery. So I'm going to replace this diode board. That is just a quick and easy way of me checking the diode board. I can check the continuity of it, and from what I read online, 0.4 to 0.5 or 6. And these are coming up at like 0.45-ish, which is fine. They're fine. I kind of prefer this light, this test light method, because it is, I just don't think I have a setting on my multimeter for diode, and it is the funny little setting right here. And it is a funny setting right here. It looks like a little, there it is right there at the bottom, a little diode. I'm telling you, I was getting funny readings and I didn't feel comfortable with it. So that's why I made like a little test light. So the diode board is bad. That is one issue, I think. The second, I changed out the brushes, and changing out the brushes is not rocket science. So it took like maybe two minutes. And the other brushes were half the size of this, so they were just gone. But I am going to actually check the stator next. So I'm going to ohm it out, so stand by. Okay, on the stator, first thing I'm doing is I'm just going to check continuity, because I don't want these grounding out on the case. So I'm going to check continuity. Nothing, 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 nothing. I should be getting it there. And here's the positive, obviously here's the negative, D minus. So I'm good there. Let me check resistance now. So I need to get some type of, there needs to be a connection between these two. So with me going through my multimeter, it's about 0.4. It's about 0.4. And it's about 0.4. This one is actually not going to. Good. So from what I can tell, the stator is good. And it is, so new brushes. And from what I understand, these things rarely go bad anyway. So we are good to go. So it is, stand by, I have another sheet for checking this. So hold on a second. Okay, it is, I was going through, the literature that I have, and I guess I want to read this. This is for checking the testing the stator winding. I've already gone through and checked it for short, and let me turn it on. I'm going to turn on sound, so it is not connecting to ground. That one is, because that's negative. That one is, this one is not. So now checking between the phases. I'm coming up with 0.5, 0.4 to 0.5, 0.5 to 0.4, 0.5 to 0.4, 0.5 to 0.4. And I'm going to read this. Testing stator winding. When performing measurement C, which is, C is testing the three phases, test resistance alternately between phase outputs U, V, and W, and take ohm readings. Note, as the resistance between phase outputs is very low impedance, variations of 20 to 30% to the resistance stated may be possible as a result of the temperature differences and manufacturing tolerances. The rule which applies: the stator winding is in proper order if the reading is less than 1.0 ohms. So we're actually at 1 point, we're less. And the max resistance between the slip rings is 3.4 plus 0.34 ohms. That is in checking on the rotor. So that's the next test. We basically checked three components: the diode board, the stator, and the rotor. I've already checked the rotor, but I'm going to show you that as well. So we are good to go with the new diode board, and the stator is good to go. And like I said, I replaced the brushes, and these are the new brushes that have an like a ring that just goes around there, so I didn't have to necessarily solder them on. It's not a big deal soldering it, but they just came with the rings. So, and the old ones were dramatically, they were half the size of the new ones. And finally, I bought this from Moto Electrics out in Denver. And this is an adjustable voltage regulator. It was like $24. So I'm going to replace the other one with this one. So the rotor is good, and I know I've checked it. So my electrical system should be good to go. And the wiring is brand new. So let us get moving. So thank you for watching.